Welcome back to the Mize Report. So grateful to have Augusta's Mayor Deke Copenhaver with us during what is a very busy time of year, especially with Masters upcoming and the mayor and other leaders getting set to welcome the world. We're going to tell you about this year's very special Mayor's Masters reception in just a moment. But first, Mayor Deke Copenhaver, the business of the city. And I want to, of course, welcome you back to the Mize Report. We appreciate you being here.
Always a pleasure.
We've seen in recent weeks more discord among commissioners. We've seen a retreat that was poorly attended. We've seen racial divisions. And we've talked about before the base issue of all of this, which is the consolidation bill, the charter that outlines who's in charge and how the city should be run. Are we ever going to get rid of that? If not, what can we do to bring peace?
Brad, I will tell you, first of all, in last week's commission meeting, the meeting went about 30 minutes or so. It was without controversy, so things have started to settle down. But I hope that gets us to a point where we can have a very good debate with regards of what type of government do we want to be. Because the consolidation bill was passed 15 years ago, and when we're still having arguments about are we a strong mayor, what type of government we are 15 years later, that's just not good enough. So I believe that the commission, along with the legislative delegation, needs to sit down together and say what is the most efficient and effective form of government to serve a city the size of Augusta, 200,000 people, and move forward from there. I think we can do it. I don't think we need to committee this to death. We've had several charter review committees that their work has resulted in no outcome. So I think this needs to be decided by the commission and the delegation.
Do you have the ear of the delegation on this? Are they interested in helping? And are your fellow leaders at the commission level ready to make changes or talk more seriously about them?
I believe that there's consensus at the commission level because we have to deal with the issues created by the charter, the consolidation bill on a daily basis. It gives no clear direction in a lot of different ways, and frankly, it creates a lot of controversy, a lot of confusion, and it's difficult to function in those circumstances. So I think that the commission has a consensus there, and I think the delegation needs to listen to us personally because we're the ones that have to deal with it on a daily basis.
One of the questions I hear a lot is they're not going to do it now because why give that kind of authority? Let's say your authority changed. And let me backtrack and ask this first of all. Last time we met, we were in the process of overhauling the city personnel manual. The way that ended was Fred Russell, the administrator position, did get authority to hire and fire. They recommend
to recommend,
and the recommend department head hirings or firings, and then the commission would have the last word. What about your authority? There was some belief that you had legal backing to have the hiring and firing authority. Where do we stand?
We are still waiting on the opinion of the Attorney General. It would be a non-binding opinion, but Brad, I've said all along, if you want to vest the authority within the mayor's office, I personally think it should be the administrator, just due to the fact that in a city of our size, most cities you look at nationally have a strong manager form of government. But if you want to vest it in the mayor's office, I'm more than happy to accept that responsibility because you need to have centralized authority someplace in order to have centralized accountability. And that's just, that's the best functioning form of government that you can have.
Is it even worth it to bring up the words racial divide? Are we so far past that? Because there are some who think, well, we'll give the mayor that authority when he or she is black, but we're not going to do it right now. Or some who would say, who would say the opposite of that. Is race involved?
Brad, I'll tell you, it's so interesting to me because I spend so much time out there throughout the community as a whole, in all sectors of the community. And I see a community where the people have progressed a long ways past the politics in most situations. And I'll sit and have a conversation about this issue with somebody at the Y, and they're like, why are we still, the racial divide? Why? That's just not what we see in Augusta anymore. I think sometimes that problem comes at the leadership level, and we have people that, I continually say, look, We consolidated in '96. That's 14, 15 years ago. We've got to look forward. We can't continue to look back. But does race come into it a little bit? It does in some aspects, not as much as, I hate to, no insult to the media,
sure,
but not as much as the media would make out at times. But still, I think we've come a long way. But this latest set of circumstances shows me there's still a lot of work to be done.
Well, the thing I'm picking up from when I listen to black commissioners' sound bites on the news, and that's my perspective largely, is just watching the coverage that comes back through the TV station, is we're not against anything, just let's not rush. Is that true, that there's more of a call for patience?
Well, and I would say I respect their comments in that regard. But I do think at some point, because you look at the reorganization, which we'll be voting on next week in the commission meeting, the longer we go without acting, the less the cost savings gets.
That's right.
So I do think that the commission is now back to functioning more effectively. I think a lot of the ill will that had been stirred up is coming out of the conversation. But really, let me make a point, Brad. So much of this is, I share with people, we are a government that was founded upon mistrust. It was a shotgun wedding, and we breed mistrust. And here again, I don't think that there's anybody, there's not a conspiracy theory here, and there's nothing personal about what we're trying to do with local government. I was reading an article in USA Today this week about what municipal governments and state governments are facing from a financial perspective across the nation. We've been fortunate not to have been impacted as much, but we're doing the same thing cities across the U.S. are doing.
Let's talk about something exciting that's coming up. The Mayor's Masters Reception is an annual tradition in Augusta, and wow, this year we honor one of our own.
We do. Larry Mize, an Augusta native, now living in Columbus, Georgia, but I shared with you before coming on the air, his parents used to live down the street from me, and I was there when he chipped in '87. And had the opportunity to walk back up and speak to his parents on the way back up to the clubhouse. But let me share with you another funny story about that. Bill Murray was also there when he chipped in, and he said it's in the hole. But
he said that.
He said it's in the hole. But a special win for the city and for Larry Mize. Grew up here, went to Augusta Prep. We're so excited to have the opportunity to honor him. 6 o'clock Monday evening of the Masters at the Augusta Commons. $1 to get in. All proceeds go to charity. But it is a great event for the city in that there are a lot of people who aren't able to make it out to the tournament. They don't get tickets. This is a chance for everybody throughout the community to be a part of the Masters experience.
And very quickly, even though it's still under construction, the Convention and Visitors Bureau is going to use the T Center as a focal point to get visitors to check that out and then hopefully think about making Augusta their home down the road. That's already a selling point.
It really is, and I drive by it every day. I know you sort of have to at your current location. Although this won't always be your location.
No, sadly.
But it is, and during these difficult economic times, when you get that many visitors coming to your city, you need to leverage your successes. When you can drive these visitors around or bring them by the T Center, look at what we've got moving forward. The new library, the canal is supposed to be rewatered by that point, but Augusta is a work in progress, but I would stress the progress, which is what I do to visitors every year.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with the reception and with the visitors that are going to be checking us out. And best of luck also with the changes going on at the Muni Building. We appreciate your hard work.
Absolutely. Well, patient persistence is what will get us there. Absolutely.
Mayor Deke Copenhaver, the mayor of Augusta, always grateful for his presence on the Means Report. When we come back, Jeff Fairman with financial advice you can use to stay economically healthy this year. We'll be right back.